Well, I have to say, I think we're going to start every meeting with a choir because I have never heard such a silent, attentive ballroom in my life. Thank you all for this attention time because I think that what we're talking about is important here. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you to Union Bank for the title sponsorship. Matt, thank you for being a president and leading this organization and always having our back. So it makes the world of difference here. With that, I'd like to welcome our keynote speaker for this morning. Lisa Hershey is the Executive Director of Housing California. She has an extensive background in leading multi-sector initiatives around statewide policy change, and she has brought the housing sector into greater conversations around climate change, equity, health, and resident organizing. Before joining Housing California, Lisa serves as the Public Health Institute Program Director for California Convergence, a network of resident leaders and partners creating healthy, safe, and equitable communities. She served as an advisor to the Director and Deputy Director of Policy and Programs at the California Department of Public Health, and she aided in the development of the Strategic Growth Council, which is so important to our work. In addition to all of that, Lisa has been a great friend, great colleague, and a great mentor and a leader in the California housing world. Please join me in welcoming Lisa Hershey to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, San Diego. Awesome. Let's try that again. Good morning, friends and family and partners. Good morning, San Diego. Awesome. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to be here with all of you today. I am both humbled by the amazing voices of our city choir this morning that came before me, and I'm inspired to build on that cacophony of sound and set an invigorating course for the rest of today's conference. Are you with me? Are you with me? All right, let's do this. About 4 years ago, I came to Housing California because I was tired of banging my head against the wall. As Steve noted, I had been doing public health policy for about 25 years at the state and local level and in the nonprofit sector. And what I knew, trying to advance health and advance equity in low-income and communities of color, without a safe, stable, affordable place to call home in a vibrant, healthy, inclusive, and prosperous community, nothing else was possible. I came to Housing California because my worldview taught me that housing policy is health policy. It's also economic, social, environmental, and criminal justice policy. That a safe, affordable place to call home should also mean access to quality jobs, schools, healthy food, and safe places to play. Because as we know from numerous studies and our own personal and professional experience working in these decades for so long, when everyone has a safe, stable place to call home, everyone benefits. Steve asked me during my time together with you today to accomplish 3 objectives. The first, to celebrate successes, which I'm thrilled to do. The second is to recognize the challenges or the obstacles before us. And then third, to activate for the opportunities ahead. President Obama recently said, "We are in a challenging moment because when you look at the arc of history, there has always been a push and a pull between those who want to go forward and those who want to look back, between those who want to divide and those who are seeking to bring people together." between those who promote politics of hope and those who promote politics of fear. I propose to you today and moving forward that we come together, we stand together, and we promote politics of hope. This is a new era, and we have never experienced this level of intersectionality. This is the time. So let's celebrate together. Our recent successes, and Steve has articulated them, here in San Diego and statewide are amazing. This is our moment. Are you feeling this? This is our moment. We have the right housing champions representing this region. We have the right fixes to antiquated policies and systems. We have the right multi-sector coalitions. And when we pass Propositions 1 and Proposition 2, we will have the will of the voters to push forward and send a big message for change to our lawmakers at all levels of government. And I know this is feeling particularly relevant for some of you at home who have fought so hard to get things on the ballot this year. At the regional level, our regional leader of the Props 1 and 2 campaigns is the San Diego Housing Federation. Its members and partners. It's all of you. You all have helped move the message and turn out the critical votes for our affordable housing measures. Because of all of you, San Diego is ready to say yes to Proposition 1 and 2. But we still have work to do. We only have 5 weeks, and I actually think it's 33 days away from the election day. And we know this is just the beginning. Why? Because the current reality in San Diego and for Californians across the state is that the lowest income residents are paying 69% of their income to rent, leaving virtually nothing or very little for anything else. Because the reality for Californians is this: San Diego's lowest income residents, like teachers, unfortunately, in some cases, make less than half the income you need to afford the median rent. You know how hard it is for families to make ends meet. So what's the result when one reaches that breaking point and can no longer afford a safe place to call home? You know this, an increase in housing instability and homelessness. This is what happens. What's the breaking point before we demand solutions? Is it this? We need to daylight and assertively address what is real. Housing cost burden and instability is both a symptom of societal inequities, as well as a driver of poverty. We know that housing stability is the stepping stone to prosperity, and that all of us benefit when all of us do well. When we leave millions behind, we all will lose. We must embrace bold game changers that go beyond housing and homelessness, that transform the way we think, do business, and get shit done. Some of these include reclaiming the nonprofit volunteerism and democratic leadership, which was the heart of the nonprofit movement. We need to rebuild our own and our community's trust in and support for government. I know that's a bold and scary idea for some of you. And third, we need to recognize the tension that exists between what it takes to create long-term system changes that we need and what happens in the reactive crisis environment when everyone wants short-term fixes. If we are truly going to end this housing and homelessness affordability crisis, we all must build on our successes. We must stand together and go for the transformational changes that we know are possible. So let's talk about the opportunities ahead of us. I truly believe that we are at a crossroads in California. On one hand, we have achieved numerous successes across this state, locally, regionally, and statewide over the past 2 years. And yet, we are still experiencing the worst housing affordability crisis and homelessness crisis this state has ever experienced. We need to use this moment as a launching pad to scale our strategies for the greatest impact. Let's really capitalize on all we've been building together and our shared plan to do 3 simple things. 1, produce more affordable homes. 2, preserve what we've built. And 3, protect Californians from displacement and homelessness. I'm being a little bit facetious when I say simple, but this is what we need to get done. To do this, I offer you the following bold path forward. We need to create a shared vision for California. And I propose the following 4 stepping stones to get us to end California's homelessness and housing affordability crisis, maybe by 2025. Here we go. Some of you recognize Miriam. Is Miriam in the house? All right, Miriam is one of our Resident United leaders who spoke at our conference representing resident leaders. Number 1, we need to create a frame that works. We need to use evidence-based messaging, polling data, and social research to stop false narratives about affordable housing and homelessness in our communities. The messenger matters. What we say is important. Inform your narrative work. And anytime you enter a room, be ready to listen, to understand, and to find shared solutions. Number 2, build a statewide multi-sector alliance or network of networks that capitalizes on all of this current 2018 momentum, that connects our grassroots to our grass tops and our treetops, amplifying our shared power. Most elections, for those of you who've been involved in them before, are really about winning at the election. They're totally focused on the election day win. Well, of course, we want to win at the ballot this year, and this conference is about getting out to vote. We want our issues of Proposition 1 and 2. Many of you have other local initiatives on the ballot. This is critical. However, we decided, Housing California, along with our campaign partners, the California Housing Consortium, Building Trades of California, and the Silicon Valley Business Group, as well as all of our regional partners, that this election was a golden opportunity to grow deeper people, technical, and knowledge infrastructure to win both at the Capitol and the ballot box for years to come. Through extensive training that many of you have been involved in and leadership development of residents in partnership with all of our developers in the room, service providers, regional partners, and other key allies, this growing, locally connected, regionally organized, statewide alliance is powerful now, and it is a force to be reckoned with in the future. So watch here for people you know as we connect the dots. This new power base connects the grassroots to the grass tops to the treetops. The third key stepping stone is electing housing champions. It matters. You all have helped raise amazing political leaders that now sit in our State House. Pro Tem Atkins, Assemblymember Mainshine, Gloria. Your local folks that sit in our State House have made phenomenal differences. Played a key success in so much that has happened. And finally, we need to advance bold policy solutions. There are many things that we could talk about here, but I'm going to focus in on a few key elements that I'd like to offer you today. First, include your residents. Include tenants who are struggling in your decision-making processes and your policy advocacy efforts. We know that residents are key voters. And even more importantly, we know that residents have the key ideas on how to fix our broken systems within which they are living. For example, the San Diego Residents United Network. Are you in the house? Really? That doesn't just mean our residents. That's all the folks that work with them. Are you in the house? All right. As many of you recall, and I won't tell this story again, our Residents United work in San Diego really made a huge difference, along with everyone else across the state, in helping us get the final votes for SB 2, which was our first permanent source for affordable housing in a long, long time in 2017. So I'd like to shout out to Maria Hernandez, who's sitting right here, and Assemblymember Mainshine. That was a huge, huge play. Second, take advantage of the new administration. Anyone know who's up here? Nobody? Okay, I know you can probably name one. Can you name two? Yeah, Newsom and Cox. So these are our two gubernatorial candidates. We had them at our conference this year, learned a lot. The ideas they put forward include building 3.5 million homes by 2025, changing or growing our tax credit program. They also have put forward really figuring out how to tackle homelessness. Our communities must engage, vote in November, and take hold of this opportunity for change. Let's stay here for a second. Third, ensure we have a complete count during Census 2020. How many of you are involved in the Complete Count Committee, either locally or statewide? Okay, so this is an opportunity to get more involved. Housing California sits on the California Complete Count Committee, as does Chris, who may be in the House for Advancement San Diego. And we know several of you are working on the local campaigns. This is what this means. A lot of our folks are the hardest to count folks. They're experiencing housing instability or homelessness. We have got to help ensure that every person in your community is counted. This translates, the 2020 census translates to billions of dollars to California. It's about $2,000 per person. It also translates to congressional seats. So we have more votes at the federal level. If you want more information on that, please let me know. Fourth, we need to pursue tax reform. There are a lot of different ways to do this, but one thing you may or may not be aware of right now is there's the Schools and Communities First Act, which used to be called the Make It Fair Coalition, has put tax reform of Prop 13 on the 2020 ballot. Voters have the opportunity in 2020 to address the corporate tax loophole, which will bring more than $11 billion a year to education, services, and affordable housing in California. Housing California sits on the executive committee and steering committee, and this is a vital campaign. We encourage you all to get involved, get people activated, and move. This is critical to our future. And finally, fifth, lean in. Advance innovative public-private investment strategies for the future. I say this now because what I have learned over this past year is we have the voter engagement infrastructure, we have the partnership and financing infrastructure to keep building momentum to bigger and bolder solutions. That's because all of you, we're already there. Go back. There we go. That's because, thanks to all of you, the Proposition 1 and 2 campaign has the most diverse network we have ever built. So we've got our developers that have given big, and many of you in the room that have given big, but we also have investment from ag to technology, from business to healthcare. We have set the stage to win big in 5 weeks or less, and to continue winning 2020 and beyond. Before I close, which I will do shortly, I would be remiss not to talk about Proposition 1 and 2, although when Steve asked, everybody said they knew about it. I'm going to guess there's a couple of people who don't. And for those who do, I know I'm not singing to the choir, I'm talking to the choir, so talk with me. On behalf of Housing California, we are one of the 4 executive committee members that I mentioned earlier that are advancing Proposition 1 and Proposition 2. On the steering committee, we have Pro Tem Atkins, we have Assembly Member Chu and Senator Bell. We also have sitting on there Dignity Health, Habitat for Humanity, League of California Cities. CSAC is a partner. It is diverse, it is broad, and it is big. As you know, Housing California holds this near and dear. In 2016, we helped advance SB 3, which put Proposition 1 on the ballot. In 2016, we helped advance the $2 billion No Place Like Home, which now is on the ballot because it's been stuck in the courts. Both of these align so dearly with Housing California's vision. Again, a vision I hope we all hold near and dear. It's a vision for a California where no person lives on the street or in a car, and every single person has a safe, affordable place to call home in a vibrant, inclusive, and prosperous community. We know that without a safe, affordable place to call home, nothing else is possible. And we also know that the #1 cure to homelessness is affordable housing. Proposition 1 on the November ballot helps veterans, working families, people with disabilities, people who have experienced or survivors of domestic violence, and ag workers. Prop 1 is expected to build 50,000 homes. It's expected to create 137,000 jobs and pump $23.4 billion into our economy. Proposition 2 is complementary, and some of you may be less familiar with. It targets a more narrow and yet critical population. It's targeted towards people who are experiencing severe mental health issues and are already homeless or at risk for homelessness. Prop 2 will provide $2 billion to build supportive homes, 20,000 new homes. And these homes, of course, for those of you who know supportive housing, are tied around with services. Prop 2 will provide these $2 billion from the Mental Health Services Act to jurisdictions to help you build supportive homes tied to services, which is already an allowable use of the Mental Health Services Act. I'm sure many of you know the numbers, but we have been sharing with voters and supporters how placing people experiencing homelessness in supportive homes provides significant savings. In fact, if you've gotten your ballot pamphlet in the mail already, you will see that we actually got this ballot argument into that. There is a 2018 RAND study from LA County that shows us 1 year, just 1 year of supportive housing took 3,500 people off the streets. 96% of the study participants were still in their homes with health services a year later. Taxpayers saved more than $6.5 million in 1 year, and participants visited the emergency rooms 70% less, saving healthcare amazing amounts of dollars. Add that to Prop 1, and we are able to not only serve people without homes, but also many Californians who are struggling to make ends meet. Research also shows us in California that businesses say housing affordability is one of their leading, if not their leading cause of concern for business, and lack of affordability impedes employee retention. That is why we believe so strongly in Proposition 1 and 2. Before I share my final words, I would like to show you, for some of you, perhaps the first time, 2 of our clips that you'll be seeing, hopefully, a great deal of in the near future.
An estimated 10,000 homeless veterans live in California, the largest population of unsheltered veterans in the nation. Other veterans return home from service yet struggle with the cost of housing in California. Prop 1 dedicates funding to help veterans off the street and into housing, so those who served our country have a place to call home. Prop 1 also provides military veterans with home buyer down payment assistance. That's why Disabled American Veterans, VFW, and dozens of other veteran groups support Prop 1. Vote yes on Proposition 1.
Nearly 300,000 kids in California went to school last year after sleeping in cars or shuffling from shelter to shelter. Vote yes on Prop 1 to make housing affordable for thousands of kids across California, providing a safe place to call home and a strong foundation for success. Vote yes on Proposition 1.
What we know is we have the knowledge, the technology, and infrastructure to win. But what we really need is everyone in. So to close, I'm going to ask you to be brave. I'm going to offer you 3 questions. When I offer a question that resonates with you, I'd like you to stand and stay standing till the very end. So here we go. Question number 1. How many of you are already involved in Proposition 1 and 2? Be brave, stand first. You all said you know about it, so I'm guessing a lot of you are involved. All right. How many of you are interested and willing to get involved, endorse, vote, contribute? Stand, please. I would really like to see most of our house stand here. Woo woo! All right. Number 3. How many of you have been directly impacted or know someone who's been directly impacted by the housing affordability and homeless crisis? Really? We still have people sitting. I'm about to ask another question if you're not up. So this is your opportunity to bring it. All right, I have a few remaining folks. How many of you believe that every single person deserves to live and die with dignity? Oh, there we go. Look around. Individually, you are each so strong. Collectively, we are mighty. I'm going to ask you all to stand in solidarity and unity, recognize the work we have already done, be ready for the possibilities and the change before us. If you're ready, are you ready? Are you ready? Join me. Woo! welcome. Thank you for having me today. Have a wonderful rest of your conference.
Thank you.